Unlimited peace and abundance to you all. Melanated Queen Balance here. Welcome to our Balance Family channel. If you are new and you have not subscribed, please subscribe to this channel and click the like button. Now, I just want to let you all know that I am, I guess I have a little bit of laryngitis, so my voice isn't as it would be usually. So please bear with me. I'm going to attempt to speak as clearly as possible in this video. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So in today's video, I would like to speak about how to stop looking outside of yourself and begin to look within, because the answers and everything that you so desire is already inside of you. Everything that you seek and everything that your heart desires is already out inside of yourself. And so I wanted to just kind of talk about that, because on my journey growing up, I was always taught to look to others for help, or to look, not even saying that there's something wrong with looking to others for help, but I'm saying that everything that we so desire, maybe we have ideas, or maybe we have business ventures that we would like to look at, or maybe we have a dream of becoming something or doing something that's great and awesome and that the world can benefit from. And maybe there's hesitation and things like that. So I'm going to start by just sharing a story about myself. Out into my journey, I was raised a specific way where I was raised in church. I was raised under religious beliefs, and I was always taught to look outside of myself. And I'm not saying that, like, I'm grateful for my mom and my grandmother, my grandfather, and my family who raised me, and who raised me to be in church, because I did gain a lot of knowledge. It built me, and also assisted with my character and things. So I was taught to always look outside of myself, and I was not taught to look within, because every answer that we seek and that we are looking for is already within us. Why and how is it already within us? When, first of all, we are universal beings. And disclaimer, not everyone, this video is not for everyone. It's for those who have been seeking knowledge, who has gone through a great awakening and trying to figure things out and how they should start moving forward now that they're awake, or now that they are in the awakening stages of their existence. So in my awakening stages, I had to research a lot. I was seeking information because I did not know where to go from that point when I had awakened to my own potential, my greatest potential, myself. Awakening for thyself is a beautiful thing, and on the road of awakening, it can be a little bit scary, or it can also be a little bit like you would feel alone. I know I felt alone on my journey, because when you awaken, not everyone else is awake who you are connected to, and things begin to shift and change. So I wanted to just give what I can based off of my own personal experience as to how to start this process of building yourself and shedding the belief of you have to look outside of yourself for what you need. You have to go outside of yourself for the things that you so desire. That is an illusion. That's what I found for myself. I cannot speak for anyone else. I cannot speak for anyone else. I can only speak for myself when I say that I learned. And okay, I'm going to share a story with you all. And I apologize. I'm never ever like scripted or anything like that. I can only speak to you all from a pure and authentic place. So excuse me if I'm kind of, a little all over the place, because I have not prepared like a actual, what I'm going to say. I just want to share my experiences. That's it. So before my awakening, and I want to say this was about maybe 11 years ago, 12 years ago, where I had gotten to a point in my existence where I was tired of struggling financially, emotionally, physically, mentally. I got tired of struggling. I got tired of that cycle of paycheck to paycheck. I got tired of that broken relationships and looking for others to fill a void that I was responsible for filling. And when I came to this knowing that I had to do something different, I had to change my thought process, I had to change my actions, I had to change the way that I look at things and situations. And so I began to look at myself and focus on me. I was a single mother with 2 children at the time, and I was trying to figure things out and figure out what it was that I wanted to do. Where is it that I want to go? Where do I see myself out into my journey? What am I able to create, or what are these ideas that's coming to me? How do I put them into action? And I had to sit with myself and just look at things and past decisions, past hurts, past disappointments, sadness, all of the things that had affected me. And I had to go as far back as my childhood for things that had affected me. And I didn't even realize that I was literally carrying this energy around. Things that affected me in my childhood, I was actually carrying these things around in my adulthood, as a teenager and as an adult. And it wasn't until I had gone through, like broken relationships, broken friendships, where, I also, made a lot of mistakes in these situations of broken relationships and broken friendships. And I didn't realize at the time that the reason that these situations were broken is because I was allowing it, and I was drawing these things to myself, and I was unconsciously unaware of how I was affecting my own ability and myself in the process of being out into my journey. So fast forward, in my 20s, I made many mistakes in my 20s, when I was in my 20s. And then I got into my 30s. And one thing that I started to notice and realize is that cycles, patterns were repeating themselves. And I was looking outwardly for love. I was looking outwardly for validation. I was looking outwardly for approval. I was looking outwardly for support, outwardly for encouragement. Because at that time I didn't realize that where I was looking was desolate. There is no one else responsible for your happiness but you. There is no one else responsible for your validation but you. So let me slow down because I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. So it took for me to relocate to in the same state, but just in a different area of the same state. So I moved as far as I could from the inner city. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I moved because there were so many distractions and so many things going on, and I need to put myself and my children in a position where we would be at peace where we reside. So I decided to move. And in this process, I know that it was meant for me to move where I did. And I know that it was a temporary situation, but it was in that season I needed to move to this place. Once I moved and got me and my children settled and things like that, I had been working for quite some time. And I decided at that point to take a year and a half off of work to bond with my children. I know that there's some single mothers out there. I know that there's some single fathers out there. And when you're working to provide for your family and you're a single mother or a single father and you're providing for your family and you're doing whatever it is necessary to take care of your family, you don't get to spend as much time with your children or bond as much as you would like to with your children, because you're on a schedule and you have to go to work. You have to make that money. You have to get that paycheck so you can pay the bills and feed your children and clothe your children. And I get it. That is a great responsibility. And I want to say to all mothers that are single mothers that's grinding and being that provider, for every single father that's out there that is providing and grinding for your family, I applaud you and I honor you, because it takes strength. It takes a certain type of energy to be able to push through all of the things that you have to push through to make sure that you're providing for your family. So I want to acknowledge you all today in this video, because I've been there. I know what it feels like. I'm even there now where I am a single mother, and you got to keep grinding to provide. You have visions, you have dreams, but you have to make sure that you balance everything so that you are providing for your children and that you're providing for your family and you're taking care of business. So I honor you, kings and queens. I honor you today. I just wanted to say that because I know what it is to work hard. I know what it is to struggle. I know what it is to have challenges that you're faced with, and you got to try and figure out how the outcome is going to be. But once I moved and got out of the chaotic environment and got into a peaceful environment, I decided to take a year and a half off of work, and I started to see that decision for me was beneficial to me, to take time off to bond with my children. And my children are my everything. And I know that mothers and fathers out there can possibly relate to me. So once we moved and relocated, I began to focus on me. I began to think about patterns that had repeated itself. I started to think about actions, my actions towards others and towards myself. I started to think about just so many different things, past occurrences, past experiences, and where I was in that moment, and looking at myself. Now, I'm going to tell you, because sometimes, in my past, I've heard specific sayings or certain sayings, you got to, look within yourself, or you got to do this, you got to do the work and all. And it sometimes, on my journey, out into my journey, I felt like those things were cliche, because some would say, this is what you need to do, but they wouldn't tell you how you needed to do it. And I didn't get that. I'm like, okay, you're telling me I need to do this, or you see this about me, or you see that, but why aren't you telling me or giving me tips on what I can do or how I can do things better for myself? Because I didn't know. If I knew, I would have been doing it a long time ago. But the fact that things were brought to my attention, and even things that I paid attention to about myself, I had to figure things out. So I decided that I would take time and look at different situations and different experiences that had affected me in my adulthood and in my childhood. I had to sit down and really go through and remember things that just really hurt me and things that really disappointed me, and how I disappointed others and how I hurt others. I had to look at myself. And let me tell you, it is not an easy process to do. But the thing is, there is beauty in the process. Okay? It allows you to free yourself. When you start to look at and be honest with yourself. And it's easy, I can't say that it's easy, but when no one else is around and it's just you and yourself, it should be a little bit easier to be honest with yourself. Now, there may be situations where there is denial and you don't want to face the facts, but I'm telling you, going through this process, when I went through this process to shed all of the energy that I had carried of others, energy that I carried, I had guilt, I had disappointment, and there were so many different energies that I carried for so long. And I did not know how to release these energies from myself. I did not know how to, but I started. I had to start somewhere because I knew within myself that something had to give, because this repeated cycle, it could not keep repeating. I had to break that cycle. And it started with me going within myself, looking at myself and investigating myself, looking at my imperfectness, looking at my past mistakes. I had to start looking at my past mistakes. I had to start looking at what situations I caused, because there's a such thing as cause and effect, where one can cause, whether you're conscious or not conscious, you can cause something that you will then be affected by. And it's very important to become conscious of the energy that we entertain and what we're putting out. And I had to look at situations that I caused for myself, situations where I was blaming others for their actions when I chose to take their energy on. I took their energy on as if it belonged to me, and it never belonged to me. It belonged to the person who sent that energy or gave that energy, and I accepted. I had the option to reject that energy. And I did not realize that that was something that I was doing, is that I was taking on other people's energy when I had the power to reject that energy. And I began to see the pattern. I had to be accountable for my own actions and things that I may have said to others, things that I did to others, and was not intentionally trying to hurt someone. There were times where I got angry though, and I did attempt to hurt someone with my words because they hurt me with their words or they hurt me with their actions. So I said things that I did not mean. And it's very important that we become knowledgeable of the things that we speak into other people's existence. It's important and imperative that we become knowledgeable and conscious of how we treat others. And communication is key. Communication is key, but I don't want to digress. I want to stay focused on the point that I would like to make. When you start to go within yourself and you start to acknowledge past mistakes, past disappointments, when you start to sit with yourself and see and look at what you have allowed for many years. There was a point in time where for years I regurgitated, repeated in my mind things that affected me in my past. And it didn't matter how, it could have been a year ago, It could have been 5 years ago. It could have been 10 years ago. But I replayed and replayed and replayed. And then if something else that affected me in a negative or toxic way, I just simply took that situation and added it on to the past events and past occurrences that affected me. That, I want to tell you, is one of the most toxic environments out into one's energy. When you in your mind repeat past events, past occurrences that were not serving of you or to you, it did not serve you, you have to shed that energy. How do you shed or delete that programming or delete the effect? Now, I am not telling you to forget about the situation, but what I am saying is deleting and removing the energy of it so that it is not affecting you any longer. Because we can carry around energy of past and present for so long that it is hindering our evolution. It's hindering our evolvement. It's hindering us and where we choose to be and where we choose to go. And then we sit back and look like, why isn't this working? Why isn't that working? How come I can't get to where I choose to be? I'm doing everything I know how. I'm doing everything right. Check one's energy. Check thy own energy. Check your energy. Look within yourself and see if there's things that are blocking you because you're carrying them. The reason that there's so many that desire to go somewhere but they can't go where they choose to, or they're taking step by step, but it's taking longer than they expected and longer than they anticipated, is because there is energy that you're carrying around with you that it cannot go with you out into your journey of greatness, your evolution. You cannot take baggage with you. You cannot do it. Erykah Badu, bag lady, you're gonna miss your bus. Carrying all them bags like that. I may have gotten the lyrics wrong, but I got the point of what she was making in that song. You cannot carry baggage out into your future. You cannot carry trash and toxicity and things, energy that is not serving of you out into your destiny. You have to shed that. Just as a snake sheds its old skin and becomes new, we have to do the same. We have to transmute our energy. We have to let go of past occurrences and things that affected us. How do we do that? We got to sit with ourselves, get in a quiet space and place. Put you some sage on, sage your area. You can even put on some 432 hertz music, 528 hertz music, and get you a box of Kleenex. Okay? Because that's something that I had to do. Get you a box of Kleenex and begin to open yourself up to cleansing and clearing that energy, going out into your memory. And what I did was I acknowledged that situation that affected me, that was toxic and that was not serving of me. And then I chose to flip that situation. Yeah, that happened to me, but this is what I learned from it. I get that it was uncomfortable. Acknowledgement now. Acknowledging that a situation or experience was uncomfortable. Acknowledging that you did not like that situation. Acknowledging that that situation just did not serve you. But then acknowledging how did you play a part in allowing that situation to happen. I am not saying that every situation that happens is something that you necessarily draw to yourself. However, your energy, your thought process, and the energy and the company that one keeps, it actually can affect you. And so I went through this process, and let me tell you, it took time. I had to evaluate myself. And let me tell you, once you start this process, it's liberating, It's freeing. You even feel lighter in your energy as far as letting go of past occurrences that did not serve you. Letting go of it is freeing. It's a beautiful process. Now, I want to tell you, as you start this process, and I quickly learned this out in my journey, you start this process. Once you get through a nice amount of baggage that you release and you remove and you forgive yourself for mistakes and past occurrences, and forgive yourself for allowing certain situations to happen when you have the power to reject it and say, this is not acceptable. I refuse to accept this energy. I return it to its sender. When you get to that point of clearing that energy, it is not done. This is a change, an existent change, or as some would say, a lifestyle change. We have to go within ourselves, search ourselves for unbalanced energy. We have to search ourselves and check ourselves, because I had to go back into my childhood and as a teenager and everything, and I actually ended up in searching, came across some things that I had forgotten about, that I had buried in the back of my mind because I did not want to remember those things. I just wanted to put it out in the back of my mind, not knowing that this energy or that past occurrence that I shoved in the back of my mind and I didn't want to remember anymore, I was being affected by it. It affected me because I did not deal with it at hand. I did not even know how to deal with it. I didn't even want to deal with it at that point in time, but it came up in the process of me going within myself and looking at things that were not serving of me, looking at things that energy that I was keeping, and even down to the point of letting go, completely and totally letting go of relationships that was not serving of me. I had to make that decision for myself because I did not want to repeat that cycle. I had to stop that cycle. And let me tell you, when I let go of relationships that was not serving me, when I let go of the memories, remembering past occurrences that did not serve me, I had a greater peace of mind. There was a greater knowing, conscious knowing of thyself. There was a greater balance. I started to treat myself differently, because for so many years carrying the energy around, I used to beat myself up, and I would talk down to myself and say, oh, you're not good enough. You can't do that. You got to keep working on yourself. I used to shame myself, and I used to tear myself down. And in doing so, I made myself feel worse. And I couldn't get why. Like, what was I doing wrong? What was going on with me that I couldn't get out of that cycle? And when I started to go within, it was so freeing. And I was like, why didn't I do this sooner? Why did I not look at myself sooner rather than later? But the point is, I got to the point where I needed to be. When you're honest with yourself, when you focus on yourself, when you focus on your spirituality, when you focus on your mental state, when you focus on your physical, let me tell you, I focused on myself, and I sat with myself to shed all of these things that were affecting me from my past. But I started to change what I put on my plate. I began exercising every single day. Every single day I exercised because I knew that I needed to do something different. And I knew that I wanted to transform myself into someone different than what I was. And I must say that experience changed. It was a game changer for me. And then after that, I was looking at situations and problems that I had, that I was faced with. And I didn't know how to deal with those situations. I did not know how those situations were going to work out. But it was just something inside of me that just stopped focusing on the present and current situation and circumstances, and look at what you want the outcome to be. And I began to do that. I began looking at what I chose to see as the outcome of current situations and circumstances. And then after I would see what I wanted to see or what I chose to see for that situation, I let it go. And then I kept myself busy doing something else. And then before I knew it, I look up and be like, oh, whoa, wait a minute. That situation worked out. I wouldn't even pay attention, or I would be so focused on something else that the situation already worked itself out. And it may be days or weeks later, and then I would sit down and just, kind of take some time to myself, and then it just come back like, remember when you visualized, and remember when you were in that situation and you wanted it to work out, and you visualized it and you let it go? Well, look how it worked out. I'm telling you all, our minds, our beautiful minds are powerful tools, powerful vehicles to get us to where we need to be and where we choose to be. And so I wanted to do this video to just encourage you. Look within yourself. No one else can fill a void but you. No one else can shed all the hurt and the pain and the disappointments but you. There is no one that can do the work for you. You have to learn how to do the work for yourself. I'm going to be posting other videos because my journey, out into my journey, it has been challenges. There's been ups and there's been downs. There's been highs, there's been lows, and there's been lows and there's been highs. But it's been a beautiful process. And I would encourage anyone to go within, look within yourself. If you choose for yourself to be a multi-billionaire, if you choose to start a business, to launch a hair care product, a skincare product, whatever it is that you so choose, you have the ability. It's already within yourself. That ability is already inside of you. That gift already lies within you. That wealth already lies within yourself. You just have to take the time to do the work and to realize, sit with yourself. Sit with yourself and think about, and again, honesty is key. Being honest with yourself will open up your heart and open up your chakras. Being honest with thyself and validating thyself. I'm going to be doing a video coming up soon about self-esteem and self-motivation and becoming authentically who you choose to be, and how to stop attempting to be like others and be yourself, because we need authenticity in the world. We need to see your beauty. We need to see your kindness. We need to see your evolvement. We need to see that. We need that. It's so much going on in the world. And you never know. It may take you to help to shift some things that are going on for the greater and for the better and the grander. So I would encourage anyone, if there are things that you so desire within yourself, you are the answer that you've been seeking all this time. You are the answer that you've been seeking all this time. So, and there's a channel, and I cannot remember her channel or her name, but she says, if you go within, you'll never go without. If you go within, you'll never go without. That is a valid statement, and what a gem that is. So I'm telling you in this video, go within. If you make that conscious decision to be honest with yourself and go within yourself. Stop looking outside of yourself and go within. You'll never go without ever again another day. Until next time, unlimited peace and abundance to you all, and I will see you all in the next video.